Shadowlands. And I'm happy to introduce Graham Malcolm and Kathleen McCall, the stars of the show,
Something else I find remarkable about Joy, that she had the chutzpah, for lack of a better word, to pick up, leave America, go to Great Britain in the 50s, go to Oxford, write him and say, I want to meet you. There was something in his writing that deeply, deeply touched her and was able to give her fulfillment in a time where she was not fulfilled.
I feel like there are several moments in the play where you could say, this is the moment when he first falls in love, really. Or you could go, oh, or it's that one, or it's that one. I don't have any specific moments in my life of going, oh, I'm now in love with that person. Yesterday I was not in love with that person, today I'm in love with that person. I don't think it works quite as neatly as that. I do, the first time that, first time that I hold her hand in the hospital bed reminds me of that first, the first time that you hold the girl's hand, the first time I held a girl's hand, that first touch of skin against skin, you know, is electric.
The message I want people to take away from the play is that when we open ourselves up to great love, part of the deal is that you open yourself up to great pain. However, that's what makes us human. And that's what makes us sort of grasp what it means to be a person on this planet as we travel around the sun. And that's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing.
And I think most therapies start out by saying, you're not alone. If you're feeling grief or you're feeling loss,
Oh, that's great.
know that you're not the first person to feel this, and you won't be the last. And so, if nothing else, the play invites you to share in somebody else's pain. And personally, I love sniffer fests. There's always kind of it always feels like there's some kind of release and relief after. But what I get from a lot of the opening speech, for example, I'm presuming is mostly pure Lewis, is a kind of lack of proselytizing. What he seems to be doing is saying, I've made these discoveries. What do you think about that?
You know, we start off with Lewis's his lecture. He repeats himself throughout the next two lectures until we get to the end, but the character has changed. And that's magnificent writing, to have a playwright go, this is this, and then it becomes this, and then it becomes this through this man's journey.
When he wrote Grief Observed, he actually wrote it under a pseudonym because he didn't know if his audience and his readers could be able to appreciate, understand, respect what he was going through. It's the shortest book that he ever wrote. And he actually had friends and colleagues of him give him a copy of Grief Observed, thinking it would help him in his own journey. And so the playwright dedicates some time to it about his struggle through it. You know, the emphasis, of course, is about to answer the question about why does God have us suffer so much? And what he says at the end, and maybe Graham, you can quote it a little more eloquently, is, you know, the answer to the question is that he doesn't have an answer to it at all. In this case, boy, I just feel so incredibly lucky that there's somebody with the natural instincts and large soul and wise heart like Charlie Corman, because that kid, I worked a lot with kids, and that kid is, he's just something special.
And he's very connected emotionally. When he crawls in bed with me and sits there and reads to me, it's quite remarkable for me.
I have a huge amount of admiration for Charlie. Not just his talent, but his patience, his stillness, his attitude, his whole demeanor is a treat.
And I've been going to the Repertory Theater for over 30 years. This would rank in my top 5 plays. I thought it was. That that opening sequence when you're lecturing is just astounding. You could hear a pin drop.
We will be back again May 6th with our special guest is going to be Kent Thompson, and we're going to be talking or getting into a part of the theatrical process that you may not be too familiar with. We're going to talk about his selections for the 2014-15 season, but we're also going to talk about how that happens. How does a season get chosen? What factors go into play? Why does Shadowlands end up on the round and not on the stage or the Ricketson? All those curious questions that you might have about how this all works. Kent is going to be here to answer those questions, and if you like what Kent has to say the following month, we'll have Randy Weeks here to do the same thing about the Broadway season. So thank you again for joining us, and one more time, if you don't mind helping me thank our guests.